good morning, and afternoon to everyone. This is the Self Care Check podcast. And before I even get started, we like to always start off with a do you care about your self care? And we always say what a thunder is. Yeah. All right. So, this is the day after Christmas, as well as this is the month of joyfulness. And I am joyful. I'm very joyful and very, very full of love and very delighted to cover my mouth to help you feel secure within that joyfulness. So, excuse the attire as I keep everyone else safe in this time. There's a new variant going around. Not saying I have it, but I'm just saying keep those safe around you in that understanding of joy, regardless of the way. Wear it how you gotta wear it. Keep it on because it's out of love and the security of everyone. And when you show that, it's being shown back to you, and everyone feels it and is aware of it. And today's month of joy, we have a beautiful guest. And when I say beautiful, I'm not just talking about the beauty of a person, but it does really make it easier when a person can see the beauty that radiates through you and the strength and the understanding that's coming, not just out of your mouth, but within your words from when you speak. Some people may even say you're prophetic, even, but God is not wrong when He anoints those with His anointing. And to my left, I have a strong, very strong, fire filled with fire from the Lord, Shakeena. And Shakeena's gonna tell you a little bit about herself for this episode and this month of joyfulness. And this episode is called The Future of Tomorrow. She's going to tell you about that as she tell you a brief story of herself and before we get to the questions. So how you doing, Shakeena?
Hello, everyone. I'm actually doing well.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, even though some of us know of you, but for the viewers there.
Um, so I'm Shakeena, for everybody that does know and don't know. What kind of background you want?
Oh, just let's just keep it simple. Keep it direct. We are, because we talking about the future, girl. Not just my future, but your future.
So, I am a very powerful being, alone. I'm very forceful. And you know how they say it takes a village and a team, and I didn't actually have that growing up. So I actually was that for myself.
Okay.
And a lot of time people didn't understand my strengths, understand my aggression, and why I was just the way that I was. A lot of the times, like growing up, feeling alone, and you're just trying to like find the way of life, you tend to, make left turns, right turns, and that's when you actually hit obstacles that you actually have to overcome. And sometimes those obstacles like turn into traumatic situations, and you got to get yourself, through them. So at an early age, I experienced a lot, and I'm now 34 years old, and I am a lifesaver to some, to most rather. The work that I actually do, I've actually was able to make a difference in a lot of other people's life and give those things that I wasn't given to children and families now that actually need it. So I'm very proud of myself for everything that I've actually, encountered and overcame and what I'm actually now doing today.
And I'm proud just me, you where you at as you elevate, as God opened them doors for you being that leader and that stepping stone that you took, not just because you were the older sister, I'm correct, but you just knew what you needed, and what you needed was inside of you, and I'm glad that the Father allowed you to see that in yourself. So we're gonna dive into the first question. With that being said, because you said a good juicy amount. So, with our first question, Shakeena, what leader from history impacted you the most and why?
Um, Honestly, growing up, I was like real big on like Martin Luther King because for some reason, as I always said, that I was never like a follower, like I was always a leader, and I knew that I was always different growing up. I just wasn't really sure and certain at the time of what it was and the talents and the powers of what I really had until I became an adult. So believing that, you know, one day we will overcome, and knowing that it was just so much disconnection as a unity, as far as like people like us, like, you know, we didn't really have that togetherness, and it was just so much broken things that I've always wanted that from a child and still as an adult. So I actually always wanted to be to like make a difference in the world, to like be like a life changer. And I always said, oh, one day I'm going to be somebody, or one day I'm going to change the world. And I always had that image, but as I got older, I actually like really worked towards that.
Like a real leader.
I became that example of to become someone that I didn't have growing up. Like, I needed that guidance. I needed that support, even if it was just one person. And with me not having that, I actually became that as I got older, for myself and for others who have needed that. And you just never know what a person is going through, and just having somebody in your corner and having that support, even though I didn't have that village, I became that, you know, and it just feels good now knowing that I was able to give back to somebody something that I didn't have myself, because I became that for them. So still to this day, I still believe, you know, at some point, and it, you know, things don't change overnight, and it has been a long time, but that unity, that togetherness as a nation and as people, I really feel like we really need to stick together and come together. We need to love each other more. We need to actually love ourselves first, so that way we can love others. And if you don't have that love in you, you can't give it out to anyone else. Yeah. So I always felt like working on ourselves first is the number one step in order for us to help work on somebody else.
Shakeena, you said something in there before we get to the audience. Now, as far as that transition of you being that person that knew what you needed to be there, you needed somebody to be that pillar of understanding, that pillar of warmth for not just you but everyone. In other words, you was a cheerleader needing a cheerleader.
Yes.
So like that transition of you knowing you needed a cheerleader for you, but then you just started cheering for others to motivate them. What was that transition like before we just jump to the audience? What was that like, that change?
So the transition, basically, to me, it was like, instead of me waiting for someone to come along to be there, I just knew that I needed to keep moving and keep going, and basically like move myself out the way and basically see others. So as I knew that I was good, God was always with me. He helped me make it through. So that alone just inspired me and encouraged me to want to just focus on helping others, because I was okay. I healed past my journeys. I overcame my obstacles. And many times a lot of people don't do that. So that alone was just my main focus, to just be able to show someone some light, that darkness wasn't going to be there forever. So that's just basically what I did. And that alone just motivated me and encouraged me to just move myself out the way and focus on others.
She put that in explicit detail. That's exactly what I was looking for. Because even for me and myself listening to that, I went through that transition, but I didn't go through it as early as you did. And like, just for me having my own understanding of it, because I'm the youngest of my siblings, and still that transition was huge. And then like looking at it from the standpoint of someone who's an older sibling, I just wanted to hear the difference from my standpoint, and I thank you for that. So we're gonna jump into the audience with the question. First question for everyone. I'm gonna read this so we can get it straight through. What leader from history impacted you the most, and why?
I'll share. Good afternoon. My name's Louis.
Hey.
Well, I definitely looked at my parents as my leaders, you know, because they showed me how to love, and they showed me the love that I needed. But other than them, the leader that I always looked up to was Muhammad Ali, and the way he carried himself and the people, and, you know, just the love he had for people. And that was one of the leaders I grew up to love. Thank you.
And I believe it with that fro you got on your head.
You talking to you?
Anybody else?
He forgot.
Lois?
Hi, I'm Nella. I can't say that it's one specific leader because all the leaders I grew up knowing, each one has a specific attribute about them that I took from. So I can't really say it's one specific leader. And if I didn't know them or they were before my lifetime, I would read about them and say, wow, that's amazing about that one. That's amazing about that one. That shows strength in that one. So I could take from many leaders, many role models as far as, you know, people who helped us out of slavery, musical artists, activists, all different types of leaders, poets, all different types of leaders helped me groom to the person who I am and was and will continue to be.
I would say Martin Luther King because he made life better for us. He spoke up for us. He spoke up for us, and he died fighting for us. Okay.
Well, one more, Sister Wakanda.
I would say my mom. She's always been my leader. And also Martin Luther King, because what he did for us, and also his wife. But my mom was my leader. You know, following her through the years, not following her, but being there with her through the years and seeing how she raised us and then come to do it with mines. And now I see that mines are doing it with theirs. You know, being together, always, you know, loving on each other, doing things together, and traveling, you know, taking your kids, taking your family out of town is good. Traveling, you know, a lot of leisure time, just being with the family is a wonderful thing. And I see that's something that my kids are also doing with their children. That's how I was brought up, you know. Missed them days, but it's all right. Better days are coming.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people that may not have always been historical person, but that person is historical within our genetics, within our home of the ones that we share the home with, and look and see them in their faces, and even in that history, that legacy lives on. And for me, the person that of history that inspires me, of course, is my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents. But on top of that, I would say Malcolm X. And I mean, I would say a lot, but it's a lot that he done and already said in life that's already self-explanatory. So I'm gonna just leave it there. It sounds like Shakeena, the thing that I'm seeing that even within your step towards changing the future and making an impact on those around you in your household and within the street. Because you said you're a part of a youth group, right? What's the name of that?
Save Trey.
Save Trey. Like what you guys do there?
So we actually do a lot. So we do mentoring. We do a lot of like self work. So, you know, a lot of the kids basically come from like, you know, broken homes, or a lot of them need to be like taught certain things. A lot of them didn't have much guidance, didn't have like a parent to like look up to or show them things. So basically we do all of that within Save Trey. We just give them that love and support and give them the tools to prepare them for the real world and society and how to help them become successful. And just fill that void that they may be feeling. And that's basically by providing them with everything that they need. So like I said, we encourage them, we work on them. They do a lot of self-work, a lot of them write. We do fashion shows. A lot of them is into like writing, poetry, and different things. So as you saw, we had like just one day came up with a music video. We were just playing around, and I'm like, I'm tired of y'all listening to this nonsense. That's what I call the music when it's just, you know, bad influence, what they be saying and stuff.
Yes.
So I feel that the youth should always be encouraged and not, you know, misled by the music or misled by what they're seeing or what they're being taught. So just being that positive figure for them and showing them something different other than what they think is right when it's really not. So it's just showing them right from wrong and giving them the option to know that you can change. You don't have to just stay on this path. You can do right. You can do better. And just showing them that and giving them that opportunity to if they want better, they can do that. And I'm just encouraging them and guiding them and, you know, being there for them every step of the way on their journey to that. So,
I like that. Definitely like that. And you know, that brings me into the second question. Like what makes you want to change as far as like what your leadership looks like?
Well, I would say for me, 20 years ago, things was a lot different. And I feel like times are definitely different now. A lot of the things that I was able to overcome back then, a lot of the children nowadays cannot. I have seen a lot more suicide over the years within the children, a lot of death within the children due to them being abused to death or molested by a parent or anything of the sort. It has just been a lot of violence and a lot of the youth taken away because of that. And that is definitely something that, you know, I feel like I have a lot of empathy. And I just decided that, you know, like I was fortunate enough to make it out, but nowadays a lot of our youth are not. And I want to continue to keep fighting for them compared to just leaving them where they are, just showing them that somebody loves them and somebody cares. It actually makes a difference.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
You know, like, ooh, she's making it hard to want to live up to her expectations. But I'm glad to hear it because we need this. We need this coming from you. We need it coming from, I would say, even myself. And anyone that's listening or anyone that knows that leadership is needed. Like, it's a dying breed out here of leaders. Some of them don't even know that they are the leader. And that comes from poor leadership. You know, I can extend the information of pointing fingers, but I can point my finger all I want, but I got 3 pointing back. Or 4 pointing back. Well, I got the thumb pointing up. But in the end, you understand. It's because we got to start with ourselves. And when we start with us and start looking on the outside, the inside starts getting better and starts spreading all around. So we're going to jump it into the audience. And I'm going to reread the question for everyone out there. Feel comfortable and feels comfortable answering the question. What makes you want to be the change? What makes you want to be the change? And what does your leadership look like?
Start first by saying that that video that you and the kids did, that was a big inspiration. I enjoyed looking at that video. And it melted my heart, you know, just to see them kids have that joy in doing it and that it was clean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we got these little kids out here today listening to the stuff and they're really rapping, you know, doing that when they shouldn't be.
Right.
But I thank you for doing that with the kids. And we need more of that.
Thank you.
Me. I want to thank you for sharing your story with us a little bit of you, because I get to see my children's eyes through you, and the change that I want to see. I want to see a lot of young people your age and even younger break the chains.
Right.
Break the chains, like, and stigmas and all of the other stuff that come from young, I ain't even gonna say black today, but young children today, because it's all of us.
Mm-hmm.
like, you was talking about who inspired it, like my mother, my grandmother. I didn't see the impact that my mother had put on my life before her drug addiction. Before her drug addiction took off. My grandmother, powerful lady, prayer lady, never learned to read and write, but had so much strength in God. She believed and trusted Him. And that strength, I didn't see it in me at one time. I lost it.
Right.
We didn't become, as kids, we don't start out being broken. It's something that happens. Because we start out with inspirations and goals and stuff like that. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to go in the army. I wanted to do a whole lot of stuff that didn't happen because something happened.
Right.
So I love you and I love listening to you because like I got kids, my baby girl, and I got grandkids that's coming up, and we need more of you around so they can know there is something outside of what they come from.
Yes, and it's definitely.
I'd like to say something. Easy, can you repeat the question again, please?
What makes you want to be the change, and what does your leadership look like?
Okay, what makes me want to be the change is simple. Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. I listen to that song religiously, going through, listening to that song. I don't care about the person, I care about the lyrics. In music, I care about positive lyrics. And from beginning to end, that shows you what makes you want to be the change. Because when you look in the mirror, the only thing you can change is you. And change begins with you. So that part. So then, what makes me want to be the change? And then the other part you said, I believe you said something like...
What does your leadership look like?
Oh, what does my leadership look like? My leadership is stern and my leadership is tough love. That's just it. That's what my leadership looks like. And then my leadership is just a mirror effect of who I am. So if I'm an angry black female, I don't think people take too kindly to that in these days. So for example, I was in the bank this morning. The ladies, what she was going through was legitimate. But if someone didn't stop her, she would have become very irate. She couldn't get change from another bank, and she came to, and I just touched her, and I said, listen, if they don't give you change, I'll give you the change that I got, but don't, people don't like loud. Nowadays they don't like loud. They see it as something else. You're going through, she's like, you're right, sis. And then I went up to the counter, and instead of doing my business, I said, can she come to the counter and get, sure she can come to the counter and get you. She was like, oh, thank you. And then she left. That's what my leadership looks like. I'm not going to stand around and watch things happen. I'm going to be that change that I want to see happen.
Nice.
You live another? That's it. Okay. As we just heard from the beautiful audience and from our beautiful guests, everyone will stand, because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, and you got to know who you are when you do that, because you can't just stand for anybody, because you could be standing for a person that, when God is trying to, like our parents chastise us and teach us a lesson, you may get in the midst of that, and you get the lick of the stick, That's why having discernment as a leader as well as a follower, because you have to be a follower first before you're ever a leader. Always remember that, and keep yourself in check in that. Even when you are a leader, you are still a follower to somebody. And always remember you are a follower of the Father. Because we know our arms are too short, way too short. Woo, too short. And Shakeena, as we coming to our short timing towards the end of this podcast, kind of feel like it went by quick. What do you say?
Yeah, no. When things is just natural, sometimes time just go by. When it's just you being you, and you're like, wow, we're done already, you know. So
Nah, give me some more time.
happened?
5 minutes. No. Just put the blanket over yourself and just lay there. Wake up and it's like lunchtime.
Right.
Yeah, I wish every day was like that.
Only in France.
Only in France?
No, I said only in France.
I was about to say, I'm about to go to France. So with the last question for the podcast. Woo, in the echo of history, how do you see your footnote? Your footnote.
Just people remembering me and knowing me and always having something positive to say about the things that I've showed them or impacted them with is, you know, the way that I would want to see my footprints being left. Always leaving in a good memory, or somebody just saying she helped me in a certain way, or I remember her for this. Just leaving a good impact on people and knowing that they actually learned something from you and you were able to put something in them that will never leave them, that they'll hold on to, you know, is enough for me, basically. And I know I can't change everyone in the world, but just impacting as many as I can actually makes the difference. And I will be satisfied with that, because at the end of the day, like I said, I was put here for a reason. And I may not be able to get through to everyone, but the ones that I've had and that I will, you know, I'm satisfied. I did my job, you know, so that alone I will be okay with.
There's a scripture and just to punt off my name, book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 11. God was talking to Ezekiel when he asked him, did you go speak to the people? And Ezekiel was like, but they Father, I'm just paraphrasing, Father, they might not listen. And then it says, God said to him, speak, and for who shall listen will listen.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't about if everybody listen. Speak.
Yep.
Just speak, and they shall hear.
Yep.
That even with what you're doing as a leader, lead and they shall follow.
Yes.
Build it and they shall come. You know? And it's just the first step. And he will take the next.
Yep.
And then you take that next. And it just keeps going and trickles all down to each other. And next thing you know, you got a whole mass of kingdom.
Yep.
A fortress. A holiness. Yes, a village. Everything that you're building.
Yeah.
As a leader. And to everyone that was listening, and everyone that tuned in to the Self-Care Check podcast, a Tier 1 recovery, may you be safe and be snuggled with your loved ones and show them nothing but the love and care and know that you are cared for and loved by the Father and always. Do you care about your self-care? Yeah!